Good morning students, welcome back to Daily Current Affairs Analysis by CivicCentre IAS, where we shall discuss important relevant articles from the Hindu, Indian Express, PIB and the UPSC CSE Prelims context. Displayed are the topics which we will be discussing today. Well, let's begin. The first article says that to address the growing backlog of criminal cases, the Supreme Court on January 30 allowed the High Courts to appoint retired judges on an ad hoc basis, provided they hear only criminal appeals as part of a bench led by a sitting judge. Well, in this context, let's talk about the appointment of ad hoc judges. Recently, the Supreme Court has relaxed the conditions for appointing ad hoc judges in the High Courts, which were previously outlined in its 2021 judgment. Significantly, the court has suspended the condition that the ad hoc appointments can only be made if High Court vacancies exceed 20% of the sanctioned strength. But the origins of this decision trace back to the Lok Prahari case of the year 2021. This case began when the NGO Lok Prahari filed a public interest litigation under the Article 32 of the Constitution, seeking a solution to the growing backlog of the criminal appeals in the High Courts. As a result, the Supreme Court invoked Article 224A, which allows for the temporary appointment of the retired judges as an ad hoc judges to address the judicial pendency. So, how are these ad hoc judges appointed? Well, the procedure is clearly outlined in Article 224 of the Indian Constitution. The process includes recommendation by the Chief Justice of the High Court, consultation with the Governor and Law Minister, and also the final approval comes from the Chief Justice of India and the President of India. And before this recent ruling, ad hoc appointments were made under specific trigger points, which included: first, when the vacancies exceed 20% of the sanction strength; second, when cases remain pending for more than 5 years; and next, if more than 10% of backlog consists of cases older than 5 years; and lastly, when the disposal rate of cases is lower than the filing rate. However, under the new ruling, the first condition has been suspended, allowing the greater flexibility in appointing the ad hoc judges. Now, how many ad hoc judges can be appointed? Well, know that each High Court is allowed to appoint between 2 to 5 ad hoc judges, ensuring that the total number of these judges doesn't exceed 10% of the sanction strength of that particular High Court. Further, the primary responsibility of these ad hoc judges is to focus on clearing long pending cases, particularly those older than the 5 years. However, the Chief Justice of the respective High Court holds discretion to assign them cases that are less than 5 years old if necessary. And also, ad hoc judges will receive the same salary, allowances and benefits as the regular High Court judges except for the pension benefits. Additionally, to maintain their status and dignity, they will also be provided rent-free accommodation for a housing allowance. However, there are certain restrictions on ad hoc judges. First, they cannot take up the legal advisory, arbitration or any other legal work. Second, they cannot hear fresh cases and are limited to hearing older pending cases. Lastly, division benches consisting only of ad hoc judges may be constituted exclusively for the clearing old cases. And ad hoc judges will sit alongside the senior judges in division benches hearing the criminal appeals. Remember that ad hoc appointments are temporary and cannot replace regular judicial appointments in the High Courts. Well, moving to the next article, it says that the Defence Ministry on Thursday signed contracts worth 10,147 crore for a variety of ammunition for the Army's Pinaka multiple rocket launch system. The ammunition also enhances the range of Pinaka systems. Well, in this context, let's discuss briefly about the Pinaka multiple rocket launch systems. Know that it is a multi-barrel rocket launcher. Interestingly, this powerful system was designed by the Armament Research and Development Establishment, which is a key laboratory of the Defense Research and Development Organization. In short, the DRDO. Notably, it was first used during the Kargil War, where it successfully neutralized Pakistan Army positions on the mountain tops. More importantly, the Pinaka system is designed to deliver the lethal and responsive firepower against a variety of enemy targets. For instance, it can target exposed enemy troops, armored and soft-skin vehicles, communication centers, air terminal complexes, and even fuel and ammunition dumps. Furthermore, structurally speaking, the Pinaka system is made up of 4 key components. First, a multi-tube launcher vehicle that fires rockets with precision. Second, a replenishment cum loader vehicle that ensures a continuous supply of rockets. And third, a separate replenishment vehicle that carries the extra ammunition. And finally, a command post vehicle that oversees the operations. Additionally, the rocket launcher has two pods, with each pod containing 6 rockets, and the system can utilize an area of 700 into 500 square meters in just 48 seconds. Additionally, the launcher system is supported by 4 hydraulically actuated outriggers for stability during firing. And in terms of range, it can strike targets between 60 to 75 kilometers away, making it a long-range, high-impact weapon. And to ensure high mobility, the entire system is mounted on a Tatra truck, which allows for easy transportation across different terrains. And now to information. Know that Armenia became the first export customer for the indigenously developed Pinaka, with interest expressed by the several countries for the system. Domestically, the Indian Army has 4 Pinaka regiments in service and 6 more are on order. And it's most important to note that Pinaka Mk1 variant has a range of 38 kilometers and is capable of firing multiple type of ammunitions, making it highly adaptable in compact scenarios. Now, moving to the next article, it says that a day after US President Donald Trump signed an order that could impose sanctions on India for its investment in Iran's Chabar port, the Union government on Thursday remained silent regarding the order and its implications. Now, in this context, let's talk about Chabar port. To begin with, Chabar port is located in Iran's Sistan Balochistan province. More specifically, it sits on the Gulf of Oman, right at the mouth of Strait of Hormuz. As a result, this makes it Iran's only deepwater port with the direct access to the Indian Ocean. Structurally, the port consists of 2 key terminals. First, Shahid Beheshti port, and the next is the Shahid Kalantri port. And geographically, Chabahar enjoys a prime location. It is strategically close to Afghanistan, Pakistan and India. Furthermore, it is just 550 nautical miles from the Kandla port, which is in Gujarat, and 786 nautical miles from the Mumbai. Because of this, Chabahar serves as a crucial link between India and the Central Asia. Notably, Chabahar port is a part of international north-south transport corridor. Essentially, this multimodal trade route connects the Indian Ocean to the Russia and Northern Europe via the Persian Gulf and the Caspian Sea. Importantly, it aims to reduce transit time and cost for trade between India and Europe through the Iran. As a result, it provides a much needed alternative to the traditional trade routes. Now, going back to the year 2016, India, Iran and Afghanistan signed a tripartite agreement to develop Chabahar's Shahid Beheshti terminal. And the main objective was to establish an international transport and transit corridor that would enhance trade and connectivity. More importantly, this became India's first foreign port project, highlighting its commitment to the regional connectivity. And bypassing the Pakistan, Chabahar provides India direct access to Afghanistan and Central Asia. And at the same time, it serves as a potential transit hub for the trade between India, Iran and Afghanistan. Additionally, Chabahar presents an alternative trade route to China's Silk Road, giving India a competitive edge in the region. Now further, in terms of infrastructure, India has invested in 2 major projects. The first is the construction of Chabahar port and the second is the development of a rail line from Chabahar to Zahedan aimed at enhancing regional connectivity. And both these projects are crucial for improving trade routes and supply chains in the region. Now, from a strategic standpoint, let's see how Chabahar is vital for the India's regional trade and connectivity goals. For one, it expands India's access to Central Asia and Europe, strengthening its economic and diplomatic presence in the West Asia. Secondly, it acts as geopolitical counter to China by balancing the influence of Belt and Road Initiative and China's Gwadar port in Pakistan. And at the same time, Chabahar provides an alternative trade route to Afghanistan, reducing India's reliance on Pakistan for the transit. And as a result, it plays a crucial role in India's long-term trade and security strategy. Moving to the next article, it says that Odisha has joined the growing demand for the Finance Commission to raise state share in India's divisible tax pool to 50% from about 41% currently. The 16th Finance Commission chairman acknowledged the broader call by many states for a higher allocation. In this context, let's talk about the tax devolution. To begin with, what exactly is this tax devolution? In simple terms, it refers to the distribution of tax revenues between the central government and the state governments in India. More importantly, this process is crucial because it determines how financial resources are shared to support the development, infrastructure, and welfare programs across different states. Now, let's talk about the legal framework. First, tax devolution is governed by the Article 280, Clause 3, Clause A of the Indian Constitution, and according to this provision, the Finance Commission is responsible for recommending how the net tax proceeds should be divided between the Union and states in fair and equitable manner. To ensure this, all the states receive the necessary financial support to meet their economic and developmental needs. With this in mind, let's look at the key responsibilities of the 16th Finance Commission. First and foremost, it is tasked with recommending the distribution of tax revenues between the Union government and the states as outlined in Chapter 1, Part 12 of the Constitution. At the same time, it determines the allocation of tax shares among the individual states, ensuring a balanced distribution of the financial resources. And beyond this tax devolution, the Finance Commission also sets the principles for grants and aid to the states. And now, under the Article 275 of the Constitution, the Commission decides how much financial assistance the state should receive from the Consolidated Fund of India. Additionally, it determines the specific amounts of grants and aid, especially for the cases not covered under the general provisions of the Article 275. And this ensures that states with additional financial requirements receive adequate support. Now, let's shift the focus to the local governance. One of the most important crucial role of finance commissions is that to identify the measures to increase the consolidated fund of a state. Now, why is this important? Because it helps in supplement resources for panchayats, municipalities, strengthening the local governance and development. And the other important aspect of the Finance Commission's role is its disaster management financing. Considering the rising frequency of the natural disasters, the Commission is responsible for reviewing the existing financing structure for the disaster management. More specifically, it examines the funds established under Disaster Management Act 2005 and assesses whether they are sufficient. Furthermore, the Commission provides recommendations for improving disaster management funding, ensuring a better response mechanism and greater resilience. Moving to the next article, it says that India will launch the Chandrayaan-4 mission to bring back samples of moon rocks to the Earth in the year 2027, while a third launch pad is also being built to expand beyond Sriharikota, said by the Science and Technology Minister Jitendra Singh. Now, in this context, let's talk about Chandrayaan-4 and Samudrayaan. Firstly, talking about the Chandrayaan-4, which is scheduled for launch around the year 2028, is a groundbreaking lunar sample return mission. See, unlike the previous Chandrayaan missions, this one aims to collect samples from the moon's surface and bring them back to the Earth for the scientific analysis. More importantly, this mission will require two crucial docking maneuvers. First, when the space modules fly back from Moon to unite with the main spacecraft. Second, when the lunar samples are transferred to the re-entry vehicle before returning to the Earth. And interestingly, Chandrayaan-4 will be more complex than the Chandrayaan-3, which make history with the soft landing near the Moon's south pole. Now, in comparison, while Chandrayaan-3 had 3 modules, that is the propulsion, module, lander and rover, Chandrayaan-4 will have 5 distinct modules. To achieve this ambitious goal, Chandrayaan-4 will consist of 5 key modules. Let's see them. First, the lunar propulsion module. This module is responsible for transporting the lunar lander and the ascended stages to the moon. Essentially, it works similarly to the propulsion module used in the Chandrayaan-3. Second, the lander module. See, once on the moon's surface, this module will deploy a robotic arm to collect the lunar samples. After that, the collected samples will be transferred to the Axender module. Third is the Axender module. This module will carry the collected samples and ascend the lunar surface, reaching the lunar orbit to dock with the transfer module. Now, coming to the fourth one is the transfer module, and this module will hold the lunar samples and transfer them to the re-entry module before the return to the Earth. Finally, the re-entry module. This is one of the most critical components as it is designed to withstand Earth's atmospheric pressure and ensure the safe return of the lunar samples. Now, while India is reaching for the stars, it is also diving into the depths of the ocean, introducing the Samudrayan mission, the India's first manned deep ocean mission. Know that this groundbreaking project aims to develop a self-propelled manned submersible to explore the deep ocean like never before. More impressively, this advanced submersible will be capable of carrying 3 human beings to a depth of 6,000 meters beneath the ocean. Now, what makes this mission so significant? First and foremost, it will be equipped with state-of-art scientific sensors and tools allowing detailed deep-sea exploration. Additionally, the mission will focus on studying deep-sea resources and conducting biodiversity assessments in some of the least explored regions of the ocean. Most importantly, the submersible has been designed to ensure minimal disturbance to the marine ecosystem, making it an environmentally responsible project. It's also worth noting that Samudrayan is part of India's larger deep ocean mission which supports the Blue Economy policy. By focusing on sustainable ocean resource utilization, this mission aims to unlock new opportunities for the marine research and the resource management. Now let's move to the next article. It says that Lok Adalats are a form of alternative dispute resolution aimed at reducing the burden on the judiciary by settling disputes both pre-litigation and post-litigation outside the formal court system. And it is also a part of India's efforts to enhance access to justice and expedite case resolution. Now in this context, let's talk about Lok Adalats. Know that Lok Adalats serve as an alternative legal platform designed to reduce the burden on the courts. Essentially, they focus on settling disputes both before they reach the court, that is pre-litigation, and after they have been filed, that is the post-litigation. Moreover, they play a key role in enhancing access to justice by providing a speedy and cost-effective resolution process. Now let's know the types of Lok Adalats. There are 3 main types of Lok Adalats, each catering to specific legal needs. First, State Lok Adalats. They are organized by the local legal services authorities and are set up to address the disputes based on local legal requirements. Second is the National Lok Adalats. Know that these are held quarterly across all courts from the Supreme Court to the Taluk courts on a single designated day. Importantly, the National Lok Adalats play a critical role in reducing case pendency at a national-wide level. Third is the Permanent Lok Adalats. These are set up in districts specifically for the disputes related to public utility services such as electricity, water supply and telecom. Interestingly, these adalats act as a mandatory pre-litigation step for resolving such disputes, ensuring quicker redressal of consumer complaints. Now, let's look at the remarkable impacts of Lok Adalats in the recent years. In National Lok Adalats, in the year 2022, 4.19 crore cases were settled. And in the year 2023, 8.53 crore cases were settled, and you can see it is doubled. And in the year 2024, 10.45 crore cases were settled. And further, these are the state statistics. Clearly, we can say Lok Adalats have played a crucial role in settling disputes and reducing case pendency across different legal domains. And now, let's see more briefly why are Lok Adalats so essential to the Indian judicial system. First and foremost, they help in reducing case pendency. Since Lok Adalats operate outside the formal courts, they significantly reduce the load on the judiciary by settling disputes amicably and efficiently. Second, they ensure accessible justice, especially through National Lok Adalats, which take place across the country. They ensure that people in even the most remote areas have access to the legal resolutions. Finally, they provide faster dispute resolution for public utility services. And next, Permanent Lok Adalats ensure that consumers facing issues with the services like water supply, electricity, and telecom get quick redressal without going through a lengthy court process. Now, moving to the next article. It says that the Ministry of Tourism launched its Swadesh Darshan scheme in the year 2014-2015 and sanctioned 76 projects for rupees 5,287.90 crore under this endeavour. The ministry has revamped the scheme as Swadesh Darshan 2.0 with the objective to develop tourism destinations in the country and has till now sanctioned 34 projects for rupees 791.24 crore. Now, in this context, let's talk about the Swadesh Darshan scheme. See, Swadesh Darshan is a central sector scheme launched in the year 2014 and 2015 by Ministry of Tourism and Culture. The primary objective of the scheme is to develop sustainable and responsible tourism destinations across India. Importantly, the scheme is 100% centrally funded, ensuring maximum support to the states and union territories for the development of tourism infrastructure. Additionally, financial assistance is provided to the state governments, union territories, and central agencies for developing tourist circuits and related infrastructure. However, the responsibility for operation and maintenance lies with the respective state or the UT administration. Furthermore, under this scheme, 15 circuits have been identified for the development, namely Himalayan Circuit, Northeast Circuit, Krishna Circuit, Buddhist Circuit, Wildlife Circuit, Spiritual Circuit, and Sufi Circuit, etc. Building on the success of Swadesh Darshan, the Ministry of Tourism has now introduced Swadesh Darshan 2.0. And this revamped version shifts its focus towards sustainable and responsible tourism by integrating eco-friendly practices and advanced tourism management strategies. More specifically, Swadesh Darshan 2.0 concentrates on tourism and allied infrastructure development and also enhances tourism services. Next, it sees the human capital development with the designation management and promotion. Also, it sees the policy and institutional reforms. So as a result, this new phase is designed to not only boost the tourism but also ensure long-term sustainability. Now, let's take a closer look at the impact of the scheme so far. So during the Swadesh Darshan Phase 1, the ministry sanctioned 76 projects with a total investment of Rs 5,287.90 crore. Meanwhile, under Swadesh Darshan 2.0, the focus has shifted to specific regional experiences. For instance, some of the key projects include the Borra Cave Experience in Andhra Pradesh, the Machuka Cultural Hut and Adventure Park in Arunachal Pradesh, the Kokrajhar Wetland Experience in Assam. And through such initiatives, the scheme ensures that every region gets the opportunity to showcase its uniqueness and attract more tourists. Beyond tourism infrastructure, the Swadesh Darshan also contributes significantly to the economy. By attracting more visitors to diverse destinations, the scheme helps in boosting local economies, creating new employment opportunities, promoting sustainable tourism practices, and additionally, these projects play a vital role in preserving India's cultural heritage while highlighting the country's natural beauty and historical importance. Now, moving to the next article, it says that the rupee plunged 16 paisa to close at an all-time low of 87.59 against the US dollar on Thursday, as rising odds of a rate cut by the Reserve Bank of India in its monetary policy meeting on Friday pressurized the rupee. In this context, now let's talk about the rupee depreciation. See, basically, the value of currency in the foreign exchange, that is the forex market, is determined by the dynamics of demand and supply. Simply put, a currency depreciates when its demand decreases or its supply increases relative to the other currencies. Conversely, if the demand rises or the supply contracts, the currency strengthens. But what influences the supply and demand? Let's take a closer look. Know that several key factors determine the movement of a currency. See, supply is primarily influenced by the country's monetary policy. When a government follows a loose monetary policy, it increases the supply of its currency, making it weaker. On the other hand, a tighter monetary policy reduces the supply, causing the currency to appreciate. Meanwhile, The demand for a currency depends on a foreign interest in a country's goods and assets. If exports and investments are strong, demand for the rupee rises, strengthening its value. However, if demand for Indian goods and assets is weak, the currency tends to depreciate. And the recent fall of the rupee can be attributed to a combination of short-term gold factors and also the long-term economic trends. One of the biggest reasons is the exit of the foreign investors from the emerging markets like India, as many global investors are shifting funds to the advanced economies due to changing monetary policies. And at the same time, central banks worldwide are adjusting their policies post-pandemic. However, India's policy stance is seen as less favorable compared to other countries, making the rupee more vulnerable. Now, if we see the long-term trends affecting the rupee, over the years, India has experienced higher inflation due to the Reserve Bank of India's relatively loose monetary policy. In contrast, the US has maintained a tighter policy, keeping the dollar stronger. Additionally, India's heavy reliance on crude oil and gold imports increases the demand for dollars, putting downward pressure on the rupee. Moreover, the low export growth has failed to generate significant foreign exchange earnings, limiting the rupee's demand in the international market. To counter the excessive rupee depreciation, the Reserve Bank of India plays an active role in stabilizing the currency. One of its key measures is using foreign exchange reserves to sell dollars in the market, thereby supporting the rupee. However, India's SpaDex reserves have declined significantly. In December 2024, reserves fell to $640 billion, an 8-month low from the $700 billion in September. And without the RBI intervention, the rupee's depreciation could have been much worse. However, a depreciating rupee has a mixed impact on the economy, affecting different sectors in various ways. On the negative side, import cost rises, making essential goods like crude oil, electronics, and industrial raw materials more expensive. And this leads to the higher inflation as business pass on the increased cost to the consumers, affecting everyday expenses. On the other hand, however, depreciation can sometimes benefit exporters as a weaker rupee makes Indian goods cheaper in the global markets, enhancing their competitiveness. But due to the structural issues, India has not been able to fully capitalize on this advantage. Moving forward to the next article, it says that new RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra, who is chairing his first Monetary Policy Committee meeting, will announce the decision of 6-member panel on Friday morning amid widespread expectations of 25 basis points reduction in the interest rate after a gap of nearly 5 years. In this context, let's talk about the monetary policy and also know about the Monetary Policy Committee. First, monetary policy refers to the policy of the central bank regarding the use of monetary instruments under its control to achieve specific economic goals. And the primary objective of RBI's monetary policy is to maintain price stability while ensuring the economic growth. Essentially, price stability is a crucial precondition for sustainable economic development. And as per the amended RBI Act of 1934, the government, in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India, sets an inflation target of 4% plus or minus 2% every 4 years. This means that the RBI must ensure that inflation stays within the range of 2% to 6% to maintain the economic stability. Now, coming to the Monetary Policy Committee, or simply MPC, it plays a pivotal role in shaping India's monetary policy. Note that it was established after a memorandum of understanding between the Government of India and the RBI to implement an inflation targeting monetary policy framework. And to institutionalize this framework, the RBI Act of 1934 was amended by the Finance Act of 2016, providing a statutory and structured mechanism for the monetary policy decisions. And under Section 45ZB of the amended RBI Act, the central government is empowered to constitute a 6-member MPC, that is the Monetary Policy Committee. So, what exactly does this Monetary Policy Committee do? The first and foremost, MPC is responsible for fixing the benchmark policy rate, also known as the repo rate. And this repo rate helps control inflation and ensures that monetary conditions remain stable. Notably, the MPC replaced the previous system of the Technical Advisory Committee, bringing in a more structured decision-making process. Further, the MPC consists of 6 key members: the RBI Governor, the RBI Deputy Governor in charge of monetary policy, one official nominated by the RBI Board, and the 3 external members appointed by the Government of India. Interestingly, the external members hold office for 4 years and contribute independent perspectives to the decision-making process. Moreover, for any meeting to be valid, the quorum must be at least 4 members, including either the governor or the deputy governor. When the decisions are made, they are based on a majority vote. However, in case of a tie, the RBI governor holds the casting vote. Importantly, the decision made by the MPC are binding on the RBI, meaning that once a decision is taken, the central bank must implement it. Now, how does the MPC formulate its policies? Well, the RBI's Monetary Policy Department plays a key supporting role, and this department assists the MPC by analyzing economic data, inflation trends, and financial market conditions, providing valuable insights for the decision making. Essentially, the Monetary Policy Department ensures that monetary policies are well informed, data driven, and aligned with the national economic goals. Now, moving to the last article of the day, it says that marine heat waves linked to the death of more than 30,000 fish off the coastal Western Australia in January were made up to 100 times more probable due to climate change, said by the analysis. Now, in this context, let's discuss about the marine heat waves and its impact of the climate change. Know that a marine heat wave occurs when the sea surface temperatures rise significantly above the average for an extended period. Typically, a marine heat wave, which is in short MHW, is defined as a period of at least 5 days when sea surface temperatures rise 3 to 4 degrees Celsius above the regional average. While some marine heat waves last only weeks, others can persist for months or even years, intensifying their destructive impact. With the rise in global temperatures, these events are becoming more frequent and severe. Now, if we see the recent marine heat wave events, in January 2025, Western Australia witnessed one of the most severe marine heat waves in the history. This extreme event led to the mass death of over 30,000 fish, devastating the region's marine biodiversity. And according to the climate scientists, this was the second worst marine heat wave recorded in the region, with the worst occurring in the year 2010-11. More alarmingly, studies shows that climate change has increased the probability of such extreme events by up to 100 times. And now, if global warming continues unchecked, we can expect even more frequent and intense marine heat waves in the future. Now, why are these marine heat waves intensifying? See, the root cause of marine heat wave intensification is the global climate crisis. Since industrialization, global temperatures have risen by approximately 1.3 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Alarmingly, over 90% of the excess heat generated by the climate change is absorbed by the oceans, leading to a global sea surface temperature increase of 0.9 degrees Celsius. And this continuous rise in sea surface temperature is driving force behind the increasing frequency, intensity, and duration of marine heat waves. And further, coastal regions like Western Australia are among the worst affected, making these extreme events an urgent global concern. Now, if we see the impact of marine heat waves, the consequences of marine heat waves are far-reaching, affecting the marine life, ecosystems, and biodiversity. First, marine life suffers tremendously. Further, higher temperatures stress the fish populations, leading to large-scale fish kills. And this disrupts the marine food chains and weakens the biodiversity. Second, the coral reefs are at extreme risk. Rising ocean temperatures trigger coral bleaching, making corals vulnerable to diseases and eventual death. Third, the entire marine ecosystem faces the disruption. Kelp forests, which thrive in cooler waters, are disappearing at an alarming rate. Since the kelp forests provide food and shelter for many marine species, the destruction leads to a ripple effect across the ecosystem. Simply put, marine heat waves are reshaping our oceans with devastating long-term consequences. Now, what does the future hold? See, if the global temperatures continue to rise, marine heat waves will become even more frequent and intense. A 2018 study projected that under a 1.5 degrees Celsius warming scenario, marine heat waves could increase by a factor of 16. However, under a 2 degrees Celsius warming scenario, these events could increase by a staggering factor of 23. This means that what we are witnessing today is only the beginning. Without urgent climate action, marine life and coastal communities will face unprecedented challenges. Well, this concludes our daily current affairs analysis for the date 7th of February, and we'll be back tomorrow with the other video. Thank you.